Okay, so yesterday we read about Coach finding out that Ghost stole the shoes because he went to the sporting goods store and there's his picture hanging up on the wall. And when Coach was handing out the sweet new jerseys, he didn't give one to Ghost. He was like, "No way, man! Not if you shoplift." And so you can just sit there on the bleachers and watch practice. And man, I'm just like dying to know what is going to happen. Like if he's going to be kicked off the team or whatever. I think Olivia brought up in her response that the original deal was that if he got in trouble even once, he was off the team, right? So I'm wondering how that's going to go. I stayed right there on that bench the whole practice, and Coach never once looked at me, not even to check that I was still there. It was like he didn't even care. As a matter of fact, I could have just gotten up and left. But that seemed like a bad idea because I felt like if I left now, I could never come back. And my life on the track team would be over for good. So I just sat it out and hoped for the best. But I don't know what the best could have been. I mean, I was caught. Didn't really think it would happen. And even though I'd already told Coach the shoes were a gift from my mom, I still had to tell my mom how I got them at some point. And I had planned on telling her that Coach got them for me, and then hope and pray that she never thanked him. When I think about it now, that was the stupidest idea ever. Whew, wow. Anyway, the point is, I wasn't a thief. I mean, I guess I was, but I wasn't a criminal. I'd never swiped anything before. I was just a dude who needed some new shoes to run in. After practice, everybody came over to me, doing the best they could to hold their words in, but sending me all their "what did you do" eyes. They each gave me 5 as they left, and it was like they were giving me my final 5, the one that said, "We don't know what's about to happen to you, but hold your head up." The one just before I'd have to walk the plank. "Let's go," Coach threw at me once everyone had left. His words knocked against my chest like knuckles, a 2-piece. "Let's go!" I grabbed my bag and followed him to the car. As I opened the back door, he spat, "Up here." I grabbed my bag. As I opened the back door, he spat, "Up here," delivering 2 more to the ribs. He threw everything in the back seat as usual, then opened the passenger side door. I closed the back door and got up front. As we rode through the city, neither of us said a thing. Coach didn't look over at me or nothing. He just bit down on his bottom lip, driving his cab. And occasionally he would shake his head like he was picturing the picture of me in that store over and over again. I thought about trying to explain myself. But what was I going to say? I didn't steal them? Because I did. So I just sat there, my legs becoming wooden with fear. When we pulled up in front of my place, Coach cut off the car and opened his door. "Where are you going?" I asked. Because he never got out the car, except for the time he had to ask my mom if I could go on the newbie dinner. But that had been weeks ago. The routine was he pulled up out front, dropped me off, waited for me to get inside, then pulled off. But he never, ever got out the car. "What you think I'm doing, Ghost?" "I'm going to tell your mother what you did." Oh no. I fumbled at the handle trying to get out the door and scrambled out the car. "Coach, no, please," I begged. I ran around and got in front of him, holding my hands up as if I was trying to use some kind of magic force to push him back. "Oh man, I'm sounding like Sonny. But hey, please, please, please," I pleaded, but Coach pushed right past me. He was storming toward my house, and there was nothing I could do to stop him. I grabbed his shirt. "Coach!" He spun around. A tattoo I had never noticed before peeked from the now stretched neckline. "Ghost!" He said, his eyes closed. I'm only going to tell you this one time. Let me go. His voice was flat, hard, scary. I let his shirt go and put my hands together. Please, Coach. You can't tell my mother. You can't tell my mother. It was like a rerun of the first Coach bailout when he came and picked me up from school, and I said pretty much those exact words. And here I was again, asking him not to snitch on me. It's not that I was scared of being punished or getting in trouble with my mom. I was. But that's not why I was begging. I just didn't want to add to the problems. I mean, I'm her only child, the reason she was working so hard. And I went out and did something stupid. But the only reason I did something stupid was because I knew I couldn't ask her for the money. And the reason I couldn't ask her was because she wouldn't have gotten the shoes for me. It's because she would have gotten the shoes. She would have done anything to get them, and I knew that. I just didn't want her to have to give up something else, for me to have some stupid shoes. And now, because I stole them, she would be disappointed that I didn't come to her and feel even more guilty. She thinks she was a bad mom on so many levels, but I just couldn't tell Coach all that. I didn't have the time. So I literally fell to my knees and pressed my hands together. Coach, please. I know I messed up. But please, Coach. The words began to break up in my throat. Please. Neighbors were outside looking at me act a fool. Coach noticed them too and knew that this just wasn't a good look. So he told me to get up and get back in the car. Just tell me why, he said after slamming the door. He put his hands on the steering wheel and stared straight ahead. Why, Ghost? What was I supposed to do? My mother don't have no money for running shoes. I couldn't put that on her. Ask me, Coach said, now laser beaming straight at me. I clenched my jaw as a marble of anger and frustration and fear rolled down my throat. Why didn't you just ask me? Because you ain't my father, I snapped. Why would I just expect you to help me? Why would you? I felt my entire body was now shaking. I mean, you got me on the team, and thank you for that. And you bailed me out with my trouble at school, and I thank you for that too. But you just not. Why you care so much anyway? What are you talking about, Ghost? I care about all of you. Why you think I'm out there every day coaching y'all? But I'm different, you know that. You heard my secret, you heard it. That ain't normal. I explained, my voice now straining, ripping into its own confetti. And I get teased and laughed at all the time because I live here and I look like this. You don't live here? You don't look like this? Now stupid tears were welling up in my eyes. You don't know what it's like, Coach. You don't know. You don't know what it's like to live here. Now Coach swallowed something like bitter air, twisting his face up. He turned his whole body toward me and yanked his shirt down so that the neck stretched even lower. You see this tattoo? He asked. It was a dark band diving down into his curly chest hair. It's a tattoo of my Olympic medal. I got it, a tattoo of it, after the man who did this to me. Now, Coach curled his top lip so I could see the chipped tooth. He stole the real one. Coach didn't give me a chance to say nothing. He just bulldozed on. That man who did that to me, chipped my tooth and stole the medal, that man was my father. He was an addict. And every time he got high, he got violent. He punched me in the mouth when I was 15 because I asked him to change the channel on the TV. The Olympics were on, And 4 years later, after I had worked my butt off to make something of myself, I got my shot to run in the same race I tried to watch when he hit me. And I won, Ghost. It was the happiest moment of my life, and my mom's, and I think even my dad's. But 3 weeks later, Coach paused, swallowed another dose of that bitter air, then continued. 3 weeks later, he sold my medal for a $20 high, and that was his last high. He overdosed. Right over there on those steps. Coach pointed to a building a few buildings down from mine. Then he started tapping hard on the dashboard. Because that's where we lived. That's where I grew up. So don't tell me what I know and don't know, Ghost. I sat frozen in my seat. You from Glass Manor? I asked softly. Coach nodded. That's how I know Mr. Jefferson, he explained, which made a lot more sense to me now. So I know what it's like to live here. I know what it's like to be angry, to feel, rage on the inside. Coach's face seemed to relax a little, like he was cooling down. And the same thing running did for me, Ghost, I felt like it could do for you. He looked out the front window and shook his head. But maybe I was wrong. What did you think it would do for me? I asked, realizing that he never thought it could help me dunk by next year, realizing I didn't even really want to play basketball anymore. He faced me again, looking straight in my eyes. I wanted to show you that you can't run away from who you are. But what you can do is run toward who you want to be. I let that sink in. Who was I? I was Castle Crenshaw, the kid from Glass Manor with the secret. The one with a daddy in jail and a mother who worked her butt off for me and cut my hair and bought knockoff shoes and clothes that were big enough for me to grow into. I was the boy with the altercations and the big file, the one who yelled at teachers and punched stupid dudes in the face for talking smack. The one who felt different and mad and sad, the one with all the scream inside. But who did I want to be? Well, that was harder to answer. I wasn't exactly sure yet, but definitely one of the world's greatest. Do you understand? Coach asked, his head cocked to the side. Yeah, I replied sheepishly. Do you really? He was glaring at me hard. I do, seriously. I wiped my face, sniffled, then added desperately, but please don't tell my mom. Coach sighed. I won't. He paused, then followed with a threat. This time. Thank you, I murmured, so relieved I thought I was going to pass out, but I still had another question burning inside. Well, do I still get to run? Coach glared even harder at me, and I was hoping that somewhere in my face he could see himself and give me another chance. I'd never wanted to be on no track team before I met him anyway. But now that I had been on one, even if it had only been for a few weeks, I felt like I didn't want to do nothing else. He unclenched his jaw. Yeah, you can run. Then pointing down at my regular sneakers, he added, in those. But I can't. I started, but Coach cut me off. You want to run or not? Got it. And Friday, you're cleaning my cab, he commanded. Coach! Guys, that chapter, with that part of the chapter, oh, yeah, I love that part. Man, one of That and the newbie dinner, that part of the chapter and the newbie dinner are so intense. So let's just do a recap in case you were confused. Coach drives Ghost home and is all angry. He's going to tell Ghost's mom that he stole the shoes. And Ghost bags him and bags him and bags him. They get in the car and he wants to know from Ghost why he stole the shoes. And Ghost was like, I couldn't ask my mom. And then he finally goes, why do you care so much anyway? And we find out Coach, whose secret was that he ran in the Olympics and won a medal. We found out that after he won the medal, his father had beat him up and stolen the medal to buy drugs. And so instead of having a medal, he had gotten a tattoo of the medal as like a memory of it. And then he tells Ghost that he grew up in the same neighborhood just down the street. And so that's why he cared so much, because he could see the talent in Ghost and thought maybe being able to run track would like show Ghost something. Would show him that he like couldn't stop who he was, but he could like choose to be something else, you know? Oh, what a chapter. I love it. I love it. I love it. So anyway, your response okay. So today's response is going to be a Flipgrid, and I want to go back to what Coach said in the middle of that tense part. He said to Ghost, I wanted to show you that you can't run away from who you are, but what you can do is run toward who you want to be. Mm-hmm. I love that line. That line makes me want to dance. Okay. And what I want to know from you is, what does Coach mean by that? What does he mean you can't run away from who you are, but what you can do is run toward who you want to be? So share your thoughts, what he means by that. All right? And give some examples. And then I'm begging you, I'm asking you to watch each other's videos. You know, make your video come back later in the day and watch again. It's just, the whole point of this is to feel like we're in the class, raising our hands, sharing. I want you to see what other people say, and it'll give you ideas. If you're doing your response later in the day, watch everybody's before you do yours. And then you can get your own take on it, okay? All right, I can't wait to see it.